What is good, everybody? This is episode 3. Episode 3. The part 1 and 2 kind of threw me
Yeah,
off.
it do be throwing me off too. But this episode 3, bro.
This
we back.
episode 3. This
We
episode
rolling.
3. Yeah, we got a little bit different setup for y'all. We got
Yes, sir.
tired
Yes,
of
sir. Yes,
the first setup in 3 episodes. So we thought on the 3rd episode.
We got some new artwork.
Facts.
Shout out, just got that junk in. But other than that, I mean, same room, same mics, same us. So
Something like that, man. I'm gonna start this off a little bit different.
All right,
We was
bro,
talking a little bit
come
off
on.
camera,
yeah,
but I thought, this is perfect to talk about on camera, something like that. But man, let me tell you what, coaching. Sometimes coaching is for the birds, man. I'm not even gonna hold you. That junk is sometimes for
what
the
been
absolute
going on,
birds.
bro? What's going on? What's going on?
I don't know. It's just like you try your hardest to like prepare the kids for the game and stuff like that. But then, man, when it comes game time, you're not out there playing.
Yeah.
So you just hope that they have the same intensity, the same passion, the same. Try to help them on the same IQ. Obviously, they're not gonna have the same IQ.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's sometimes like the other day we got a win, but it was just a nasty win.
Yeah.
So it was just like man, it just wasn't up to the standard,
I feel that.
So like I say all that to say it kind of like moves us into what we're gonna be talking about this episode. But it's like, man, I know like coaching, training, basketball, like what I'm doing in basketball is like the purpose that God has for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I worked at the church, I worked at a car wash. I thought I wanted to be a businessman or like be in the office. Didn't want to do that or whatever. So it's like the Lord led me to coaching and training, which I love it. But sometimes that stuff is frustrating,
tough,
difficult, and like, you're like, man, what? This is
It's
like
tough.
like I said, it's for the birds sometimes.
It's tough.
But but we're good though. We're good.
Yeah.
But that does tough.
At least y'all got the dub. At least y'all
We got the dub. We got the dub. But my
Well, no,
goodness.
I feel like when it comes to like leadership, for a lot of people, like speaking on purpose, when that purpose leads you into a position of leadership, sometimes I feel like that's like the hardest, the most, like you said, frustrating type of purpose, because it's not just like you just do what you're supposed to do and you're good.
Right.
You got to deal with actual human beings.
What? And then sometimes people want to come up and talk to you, but you're like, man, the energy that I'm gonna give you,
Yeah, I just ain't got it right now.
I ain't got.
I know what you're saying.
Like I told somebody straight up, they were like, because like they haven't really seen me be intense or mad or something like that. But it's like when I'm on the court, I'm locked in. Like when I'm coaching on the court, it's like the team, the other team, the people on the court, everything else is kind of like secondary. Like that's my home. It feels like.
Yeah.
And it was like 5 minutes after the game or something like that where we ended up losing or whatever. And I promise we're gonna get to the episode, but we like a parent came up to me and was like, man, like let me see you smile some. And I was like, man, I said, you got to give me 10 minutes. You got to give me some time.
I need some time to
you gotta give me
decompress.
some time. Let me
come back to earth real quick.
Because if I talk to you right now, not to say I'm gonna say some crazy stuff, but it's like I'm just not gonna be.
You're just not gonna get me.
I'm not
my best.
Yeah, I'm not interested in talking to you at all. And it's gonna be hard
And
to
you're
fake
gonna be
it.
able to tell that.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah, I already know. But I feel like that's that's something we need to talk about too, for real. Because that happens to me. Actually, that happened at this past U.S. trials, Olympic trials. A couple of our friends, like family friends, came up to watch. It was in Eugene, Oregon. Gabrielle was there, obviously, my wife. And the day of the final, I believe, it wasn't the race itself was in the evening. So I think we got like lunch or maybe breakfast together, and we were just chilling in the hotel. And I feel like for me on meet days, like
it's tough.
I was actively trying to be like
Right.
normal, I guess, but I was
leave me
just
alone.
so like locked in already to the point like they just left.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean,
I'm sorry.
I mean, at that point, I didn't even notice. Like they said we're leaving, I was like, all right, cool. I was just locked in. Like I was just ready to go, bro. But that's just one of them things for real.
It's just like it's sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, I could probably sacrifice, talk, but it's like, it's just the other person gotta have some awareness of like, let me,
you just finished the game. No matter if you're coaching or playing, like you're in some type of zone.
Yeah, in the zone.
And coming off a loss at that.
And it's like, you want me to smile? Like, I'm sorry, I can't. Oh, it's just bad. Like, come on. It's like, man, I get that, but yeah. So that's where it's like, man, it's a segue. It's like, man, I know that is the purpose. I know that's what I'm doing. I know that's what God has for me. But sometimes it could be frustrating. It could be difficult, and trying to figure out man, I'm got to be Christ-like, but then that competitiveness and it just we can talk about that, but it's tough. It's tough sometimes.
Very tough. I mean, I guess sticking on, obviously, the title of this podcast, this episode is purpose. So for you, I guess when it comes to not even athletics specifically, but just being a believer,
right?
What does purpose in your mind look like? Yeah,
no, that's a good question, because I think there's two sides of the coin.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna touch on the one side of the coin, and you can touch on the other one.
Yeah.
But like one side of the coin, like you said, it's like we have a purpose as a believer.
Yeah.
That comes first and foremost, regardless of what you do. Yeah. Basketball, football, track, working in the office as a CEO.
Yeah. Anything.
The only reason why I thought about this occupation, whether you're going to fix an air conditioning unit, I've seen an air conditioning truck, but it's like whatever you're doing. But if you're a believer, there's a purpose that you have on this earth, first and foremost, that comes before whatever anything you're doing.
Yeah. The whole reason that we were created in the first
place. Right. So the whole reason why you're created. And so I think, like, man, in simplest terms, like, our purpose, why we're here on this earth, is to glorify God. Like, it's exactly that's what it is.
That's what it is. For sure.
And that's where it's like, now ways that plays out, you can touch on that and stuff like that. But it's like that is the first and foremost thing. So it's like, man, glorifying God in everything you say, everything you do. If you get first place in a track meet, if you win a championship or you win a game, it's like, man, I'm like, yes, I won the game, but like, first let me give the honor and glory. Like, God, thank you for these talents and these abilities that you have given me. And like, you're reflecting, like, we were never meant
to receive worship or glory.
Yeah, we were never meant for that. We were created to receive it and then to literally reflect it back to who it's for.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of verses. You could touch on some of like the. There's a couple of verses that I had that kind of like, it kind of points this out. Very like, so what is it? 1 Peter. Oh geez. Yeah, 1 Peter 3:9. Yeah, no, 1 Peter 2:9. I'm sorry. 1 Peter 2:9. And it says, but you are a chosen race, a holy priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his possession, so that you may proclaim the praises of the one who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. So it's like, man, as a believer, like, you are his.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, and he's like, you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his possession, so that you, and then here it is, this is your purpose, so that you may proclaim the praises of the one who called you out of darkness into marvelous light.
Yeah. So I feel like that's good, because it's a good thing for us to think about, like, on the daily, no matter what we're doing. Like we said before, no matter if it's sports or not, any other career you may have.
Right.
It's just remembering that everything that happens, everything that you do in life should be for the glory of God. Like, the purpose of it should be to worship God at the end of the day. Yes. Like we said, and we'll talk about later, like, that can look different for
Yes.
different situations, different careers, different sports or whatever. But the main thing, like the thing that should be going through your mind all the time is like, is this worshiping God, or how can I worship God?
Right. Right. And another thing before we kind of go on the other side of the coin, I was literally just thinking about this before we press record. And it was like, I think about like, if I created, if I created something out of clay,
Yeah.
and you came up and was like, hey, Avery, what is this? And this is so-and-so. Hey, what is this for? All right. You didn't ask the piece of clay. Like, obviously the clay's not living. Okay. Yeah. But it's like you asked the person that created that piece of clay.
Like, what'd you make this for? What'd you create this for?
So I think, like, man, some of us, if we don't know our purpose, if we don't know our purpose here on this, if we don't know our purpose here on this earth, we don't need to go to, our mom, our dad, our best friends, or like, you got to go back to the person who created you.
Yeah, it's between you and God. For real.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you're a believer, like, I have the same purpose as you.
Yeah.
How do I know that? Because I talked to the Creator told me.
It's right here in the Word too, but like it's clear.
Right. So it's like, man, a lot of times I feel like, what is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? And it's like, step one, go talk to the person that made you.
Yeah. Yeah.
He will let you know.
Yeah.
He'll let you know. Now, he ain't gonna sit there and say, hey, you need to do this career. Like, he might, but I guarantee you he's gonna tell you, okay, this is why I was created here on this earth, first and foremost.
Yeah.
And then, okay, this is how I'll walk it out. You know what I'm saying? So kind of speak to the other side of the coin. I thought that was like, I was thinking about that. I was like, man, we got to go back to the Creator, the one who created us, to see what our purpose is.
For sure.
I
mean, like you were saying, I feel like when you know the purpose of the creation, which is us, is to worship. I think that's like the first step.
Right.
And then the way I think about it, I think God has like preferences that he would want us to do. Like, that's why he gives us gifts, the abilities, like the things we're good at, the passions that we have.
Yep.
And it's up to us to develop those things. Like, for me specifically, I was fast, I was competitive. Like, it's up to me to practice, to hone in on that competitiveness, to where I'm not like overly competitive, to where I'm then not glorifying God, but shaping it into something that I can use to benefit the gifts he's given me, and get me to the place I am now, to where now I have a platform that's bigger and better to reach more people, to share the gospel in that way. So I feel like the gifts and the abilities, the things you naturally are just passionate about that other people aren't necessarily passionate about, all those things are meant for you to use to, like we said, the first part about being a Christian in general is just to glorify God. Right. If you can start there and then like look back at your life, a lot of times it's not hard to find purpose as far as like specific career or whatever, because when you look at your life, it's things that you already are doing, or things that you already have seen come up in your life, things that you were passionate about, that you cared about a lot. It's not always just caring and being passionate, but just things that you naturally were drawn to, things that you naturally had success in. And a lot of times that can lead you in the right path.
Because it would make no sense for me to stroll out here and be like, oh, my purpose is to run track. Yeah. I'm not gifted to run track at all.
No, exactly.
But it's like, man, I'm, the way God, like, kind of how you talked about it, he made you fast and competitive. He did that same thing for me, and like, in the world of like basketball. Yeah. You had the ability to do this and do that, but it's like, I like that. It's like, man, I may be passionate about track till I'm blue in the face, but it's like, I'm not gifted at all.
Yes. I feel like that's also something else we can hit on too. Yeah. This is almost, I guess, a third side of it. Like, there's a lot of things that we may be passionate about, that we may love and enjoy, but at the end of the day, you're not seeing the success in it because God's not blessing it, because that's not where he needs you. Like, that's not the space that he wants you in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Which, that's tough.
It's real tough. It's real tough. Because I've seen it so many times in my life, not even just as far as like Christian athletes, but just athletes growing up. And you see that one dude who like, he loves it so much, but like,
hey, no, you hang it up.
Like, come on, bro. Like, this. I'm not saying that there aren't people that start off that way and can grow and get right.
Right.
But I'm saying, like, there's people that like, this is not one of them stories I'm talking about, like Michael Jordan missing his JV team. This is not that. I'm talking about the folks that this is like your senior year of college. You've been grinding. Like, you've been putting in work.
Right.
And that's just not what you're gifted in. Like, sometimes, like, God gives us gifts for a reason.
Right.
It's our job to develop them things and use them to glorify Him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm thinking about multiple. I'm thinking basketball because you see them every day. You're
all
like,
the time,
man,
bro.
You love this. But that's the thing. It's like, man, you love it, but it's like it may not be. Your purpose in the passion that you have might not be performing. It may be coaching. It may be training somebody. It may be in
just
that
talking
field,
about it. A lot of people making
a
podcast about basketball or being an announcer or something. Like, there's a lot of different ways.
So it's like, man, you could be passionate, but it's like, man, really, and it goes back to the other episodes, like having a community to be like, hey, man, like, you're really good at this, or hey, man,
yeah, for sure,
you can be in this area, this field, because you're very passionate about it, but maybe playing or maybe doing X or doing whatever it is may not be what you're gifted at. But
I think what would help too, like I was saying when I was talking about like my gifts, you got to almost like cross reference. Yeah. Like, if I was just fast, but I had no desire to compete, like no will to win, like I would not be a successful track and field athlete. Right. Like, you just fast, like it's not only gonna get you so far, So that's specific to me. But you got to look at, maybe you have a passion for basketball, but you also are a really good speaker.
Right.
You also very relatable. Maybe it's maybe it's coaching or mentoring or, like we were saying, announcing or whatever. Like, there's different things. Like, it's not just one gift that you have. There's other things that you're good at or naturally just do. Yeah. So it can lead you in different ways for sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back to the first side of the coin, because we talked about this off camera. Yeah. And it's the story. I'm gonna let you do it. I'm gonna let you tell it. But this was good. Like, talking about purpose, and so I'm gonna let you take it away. Talking about the three Hebrew boys. Hebrew boys.
But no, essentially it was. I was watching a sermon, and it was Dr. Darius Daniels actually doing the sermon on Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the three Hebrew boys, and it was a sermon about purpose, and it was essentially saying that when you read Daniel, I don't know what chapter it is, but you read the story of Daniel, or the chapter Daniel, and you get to that story, it doesn't say much or anything about their job or career or anything in their life prior to that moment, really. All that we know is that they were in that position. They were defying the king, or they were glorifying God in simply just their story. The fact that they went through that, got put into the fire furnace, God brought them out. Their whole purpose essentially was just for God to get them out of that situation so that his name would be glorified. Yeah. And you read at the end where it says the king that put them in the fiery furnace made a decree afterwards that anyone who speaks negatively about the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they will be put in the fiery furnace. So it's like their whole purpose was not tied up to any type of career, any type of job, nothing they're passionate about. It was simply, like we were saying, just glorifying God. Like, they were just being obedient to God, and that led them through exactly where they needed to be, even if it didn't look like something appetizing. Right.
That story looked, they didn't really, they were just being obedient. Yeah. And it was but then it's in the Bible, it's a really famous, it's a big time story. For sure. But it's but you really look at the story and read it, and they were just being obedient. Yeah. And
that could have literally been anybody. And it was just them three that stood up and was like, we not bowing down to the jump.
And it's just one of the things, man, if you feel like your life is, I guess, boring, my purpose is boring, it's man, don't fall into that trap or that lie.
That's the enemy, man, for sure. Bro.
It's man, your purpose maybe in the moment that you're sitting there or whatever is just to be obedient wherever you're at. Yeah. You know, even if it looks boring or like, oh, I'm trying to be here, I'm trying to be there. It's like, well, just handle what I have in front of you right now to be obedient, and you know, the Lord can use that and work. And that makes me think about, like, I know we keep on going back and forth to both sides of the coin, but they're so connected.
Yeah, they are.
I was telling a story, or not a story. I was like helping somebody on, like, just, you know, they were talking about basketball, we're talking about purpose and all that stuff. I mean, this person's really good at basketball. Like, gonna get college paid for, really good. And like, and I was just telling him, I was like, man, like, the Lord could have you going to some of these colleges, to play basketball. You're gifted at that. You're good at that. But he could be leading you to some of these schools, you know, to change that coach's life.
Yeah,
to change a player on that team's life. I was like, man, even that, if you get good enough and you go to the NBA, what if his purpose for you to go to the NBA is not to make millions of dollars? It's not to have a lavish lifestyle. It's not to you know, go on these crazy vacations or whatever. I was like, what if, like, God, his will, or like he orchestrates his divine plan or whatever, and he puts you in the NBA because he wants to give you that platform so you can glorify his name. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's just like a way of looking at it. It's like, man, I'm not to talk about like prosperity or whatever. Yeah. Like, all right, Lord, I'm going to follow you because you can get me to the NBA. Yeah. No, it's not that. Yeah. But it's just like, man, what if God is like, man, I want you to get here because I know if you're here, you're going to give me all the honor and all the glory. Yeah. And then that can affect a lot of people's lives. You know what I'm saying? So it was just a cool conversation, like just thinking about like the Hebrew boys and stuff like that. And it's like, man, it's like purpose and glorifying God are so woven into each other.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And it's like, man, it doesn't matter where you're at. You know, can you, if he puts you at the top of the top, are you still going to glorify his name? Yeah. If you're at the bottom of the bottom, are you still going to glorify his name? You know? So it was just kind of a cool conversation, because I was like, man, what if he has you at that school because he wants you there because there's a GA, there's a grad assistant on that team that you're going to connect with, and you're going to share the gospel with him, and that's the only reason why he wants you there. Yeah. You know, it's just crazy to think about that, you know?
It is. It definitely is. I mean, but when it comes to purpose like that, it's always, I think personally, like, it's more about your focus.
Yes.
Like,
that's good.
The whole idea of it is about, are you going to be focused on the things that come with living in purpose, or are you going to be focused on your actual purpose? That's good. Which is to worship God, like that's we said, the first side of the coin. But I also 100% believe that when you're walking in purpose, a lot of those other things come with it, like being financially like taken care of and stable in certain ways, like being known, and like all those things come with you walking in purpose and worshiping God, because God is he's gonna provide provisions.
That's good
for what he put in your life to come to pass. Like, he's gonna provide for his purpose, right? If you're in line with his purpose,
if you're in line with it, no, that's good. It reminds me, like, just thinking about it, it's like, man, you said this in another episode. It's like, you have to be in his word to know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, you can't do it. And I'm just preaching to the choir. Like, it's like, man, you gotta be in it. You got to. So, you know, and like, it's like what you just said, like, God's going to provide because it's his purpose. It's his plan. Exactly. But if you don't know what his purpose and his plan is, and you just out here willy-nilly.
Yeah, and you wondering why you're struggling.
Yeah, God led me here. And it's like, well, did he?
Yeah, actually.
Why am I not? You probably shouldn't be here. Yeah. You know?
Like, but also, I feel like there's a lot that can go into that, because it could be maybe something is your purpose and you're struggling with it, but you simply just haven't taken that next step mentally to actually put in the work to develop that gift. You just think because God blessed you in this area that you're supposed to be, you know, doing whatever that is at the top, the best level. But he's never going to give you something like as a finished product. You still have to put in the work and, steward it the right way to develop it into something that is worth giving back to him,
No,
so like
good.
God didn't, out the womb, I was not a professional track and field athlete. That's something that I had to develop over time and put in the work. Like, it wasn't just gonna happen just because I had to. Like I said before, not just because I was fast. I'm not gonna be. Yeah. There's a lot of fast people. I knew a lot of fast people growing up.
Right.
I'm sure you knew a lot of people who could ball. Like,
hey.
But it don't always just work out that way. Like, the most talented people aren't always the ones that just grow up to be Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe.
Right. You gotta put that work in. Hashtag.
Guys, to
time in. Hashtag time in.
Yes, sir.
But no, I have two. There's two verses that I have right here that I thought was pretty good, and it's kind of along the same lines. So Colossians 1:16, it says, "For everything was created by Him in heaven and on earth, the invisible and the invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things have been created through Him and for Him."
Yeah.
So it's like, back to number one, it's like, man, I was created for Him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like,
created for Him, by Him, through Him.
And like, it's just like, you got to know who created you.
You got to know, bro. You got to know. I mean, I feel like it all plays a part. Like, once you know, like, for real. I mean, I'm not saying you're going to have a full understanding of God, because I don't think anybody will until we go to see Him. But once you actually, like, read the word and you, like, know who God is, that helps you actually understand who you are. And then once you know that, you can understand better, like, 100%. What you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Last one. We'll kind of close with this. It's kind of a perfect thing. It's like, it's Proverbs 19:21. Many are the plans in the mind of a man, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand. So it's like, man, I have plans, you have plans, and it just goes all the way back to the beginning. It's like, man, have plans, but then submit those to the Lord, and because, like, His purpose will stand. It's like, man, I think that's honoring to God. It's like, man, I got plans. Yeah. Okay, let me put my plans down, and then let me go and pray and be like, hey, Lord, like, let me submit those plans to the Lord, and let me humble myself and allow Him to either check it off or mark it out and be like, nah, I don't need you to do that. I need you to do this.
Yeah.
So it just kind of goes all the way back to, like, man, are you spending time, and do you know who created you?
Yeah.
And then that way, and then out of that, He can lead you in your purpose and a plan and will for your life.
And then once you get that wisdom, are you going to walk in obedience like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and just be where you're supposed to be, no matter what, and let God take care of the rest?
Be where your feet are.
Be where your feet are, for real. Like, stop worrying about the other stuff. Just lock in where you are.
I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I'm not always where my feet are.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. That can be tough, but
we recording this episode and it's snowing like a mug. I wish it was that on bright sun and tropical.
Snowing like a bug. Dagger.
Oh man, but purpose though. Know who created you, and I'm talking about your mom and your dad. I'm talking about, like, the one who formed you in your mother's womb. Like, really know who created you.
100%.
You want to close this out? Go ahead.
So that was a good one, bro. I mean, hey, that's purpose, bro. That's purpose in a nutshell, bro. Lock in with God, be obedient, and seek Him, and He'll show you what you need to do, where you need to go.
Facts.
Thank y'all for tuning in. If this helped you in any way, just share it with somebody, man. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff.
All that good stuff, man. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all listening. And with that being said, I'm about to say, you ain't about to steal that from me. Nah, and with that being said,
we gonna see y'all later.
Peace.